What's going on, everyone? So we're going to try to make some sense out of what's happening in the market. We're going to talk about the SPY, the NASDAQ, the IWM, the crypto markets. I'm going to talk about the large tech stocks as well and try to make some sense out of what's going on in the market as a whole at the moment. And of course, thank you so much for all of your likes, comments, subscribes, all of your support. Really, really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get started with the video. And before we continue, I just want to explain something real quick. There's not one mother lover that knows how to trade consistently, that made a community online for people where they're making thousands of dollars and they don't charge for it. Every single other person that you see is charging money to get access to their trades, when they're probably copying those trades from someone else and then just packaging it and remarketing it to you guys for extra money. There's not one mother lover that's doing this at the moment. And we are. All right. We're all here making tons of money, learning how to become better traders, developing good trading habits. And the end goal is to become better traders so that we can help everyone around us. These other people are just there to take your money and make you customers. And that's where we are different. All right. So if you guys want access to that server where we're doing all of this stuff, the link is in the bio. It's in the comment section. Go ahead and join. No gimmicks. It's what we do. People are making a lot of money. All right. So you guys know that I like to play both sides of the market. You know that I like to try to catch some bottoms. The volatility that we have at the moment in the market is like a beautiful dance. And I'm Pakistani. You know what I mean? Like, you guys ever seen Bollywood movies? It's what we do. Rhythm is in our blood. And I was born in Brooklyn. So you know what I'm saying? Yato Sava, you know what I'm saying? But let's get serious, because this is actually really, really, really bad, honestly. So I'm going to explain to you guys. Yes. So just to keep it short, a lot of people are looking to be bullish. All right. It would justifiably be it makes sense why people are looking for a bounce, right? But I just want to open your mind up a bit, just to show you that it's not like a guarantee here. All right. So we're going to talk about that right now. So here's the chart of the SPY. You can clearly see that we just continue to staircase down and continue to keep falling. Yesterday, I was saying that the zone of support and resistance would be 395 to 405. We broke that. And now we're in a new zone. We ended up hitting 385 today. So now it looks like the new levels of resistance are acting as support, etc., etc. And it's really, really bad. So that's number one. We are in the zone now of 385 to 390, basically. If we can hold 390 for tomorrow, 395 is going to be resistance. If we can hold 395 tomorrow, then 400 and 405 are on the table. But you have to take things level by level at the moment. No matter how garbage and bearish and how things look for a potential strong bounce, keep it simple. Just leave your emotion out of this, because the market at the moment is not driven by emotion. It's driven by algorithms at the moment. And we're going to also talk about that. All right. So number one, the zone is between 385 to 390. If we open above 390 tomorrow, 395 is going to be the level where it would make more sense to break above and buy calls. Until then, every rally is basically going to be another shorting opportunity. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So this is what I wanted to show here. This is the SPY. I'm going to also show you guys a chart of Apple right after this, but this is the SPY. Back here in April, we opened and closed. So first of all, we gapped up above 400 on the SPY. We opened and then we closed outside of the upper Bollinger Band, and we just consolidated. We never came back inside the Bollinger Band like normal, right? So this happened during a time of extreme optimism in the market. It was very, very good. Things were going really, really well. All right. But I just want to show you guys that it's possible that opening and closing outside of the Bollinger Band doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to come back inside. All right. So it's very, very important to keep an open mind here. All right. So now when looking at Apple, Apple is a multi-trillion-dollar company. Technically, when you open and close outside of the lower Bollinger Band like this, that same day there should be a strong rally. If not that day, tomorrow. Right? Statistically, that's what's supposed to be happening, right? But as I just showed you on the SPY's chart, that is not always a guarantee that we'll come back inside. So the issue now is that this is the bearish argument, okay? The issue right now is that the lower Bollinger Band is falling pretty sharply. And first of all, at the open, just before I continue, at the open, I told everyone to scale into calls. I bought into calls at the open, I alerted it, and then I said I was going to continue buying into calls as we fell down lower. And we made a lot of money today because this trade always works. It's always been working, all right? So we opened outside of the lower Bollinger Band, and we returned back to the lower Bollinger Band level. I said that's exactly what's going to happen, and it did. So we made a lot of money, all right? So now, very similar to what just happened over here on March 14th, this could, the bullish case would be, hey, look, tomorrow we can end up rallying. Very similar to what happened on March 15th and 14th, where we opened and closed outside of the lower Bollinger Band, and we ended up bouncing and, started a multi-week rally. I just showed you guys the chart of the SPY so that you would keep an open mind in terms of that not always being a possibility. So tomorrow, what we need to look for is where we open tomorrow in terms of the Bollinger Band. If once again we open outside of the lower Bollinger Band, that gives a very high likelihood. Let me get a drawing tool. If we open, so say for example the Bollinger Band is over here, and we open over here, that is below it. That gives a high likelihood that we would rally, because that would show extreme overextension to the downside. One of the worst things that could happen, in my opinion, for the market tomorrow is if so the Bollinger Band is here, and if Apple's garbage opens inside the Bollinger Band, that would be terrible. Because then it would take so much more for it to fall for us to become algorithmically overextended to the downside again, and then there would be more room to fall. Okay. But yes, technically, look, guys, if we're gonna bounce, this would be the setup for us to bounce. I would be like, if I was not hesitant, everything about this video would be bullish. We'd be like, oh my god, we're bouncing, da, da, da. But technically, look, in history, statistically, we should be bouncing. All right, but I wanted to show you guys the other side of this, because it's not always a guarantee that we'll return back inside the Bollinger Band. Yes, that's been the case in terms of us falling to the lower end, but it doesn't always happen when we fall, go to the higher end. But another thing to take into consideration is that inflation is now a much bigger deal. That's the only reason why I'm a bit more worried of being extremely exuberant. Also, the fact that intraday we didn't have that much bullish price action. So that's another thing that was a bit worrisome. All right, so so there's that for Apple. We could also take a look at Microsoft. Microsoft also showed a lot of weakness. We opened and closed outside of the lower Bollinger Band. If we're gonna bounce, it would have to be either today or tomorrow. This is a perfect opportunity for us to bounce. If we don't, then that is going to be a complete shift in the overall bullish sentiment in the market, because we are algorithmically so overextended to the downside at the moment that this would be the time to catch the bounce. But if this doesn't work, if we don't bounce tomorrow, we should really, what I really want to see is a strong collapse. I'm going to talk about that as well. But the thing about this move to the downside is that it's algorithmically driven. And the reason why I know that it's algorithmically driven is that the VIX is not spiking. The S&P has been red for days, but the VIX is not spiking. It's not spiking because the selling is algo driven, and they don't want the volatility to be so much, because they would have a hard time finding liquidity for their volatility. They would have a hard time managing their positions. They would basically be screwed. So that's enough. So basically, what we can see from this is that the selling at the moment is algorithmically driven. That could be bullish because it's not fundamentally driven. If this selling was causing, all right, so look, if this selling was causing the VIX to spike, that would, in my opinion, that would be scarishly bearish, because that would lead us to believe that investors and everyone are just dumping their shares. So if hedge funds and banks were just dumping their shares without any regard for the volatility, that would mean that it's more fundamentally driven. That means that they're selling because they think that the market is just going to crap itself. But the fact that the volatility has been curbed, again, this could be speculative. This is all speculative. It's not could be. This is completely speculative. All right? And I could be completely wrong, but this is what I'm seeing here. So if the fact that the VIX is not spiking while the SPY is going down could be bullish. But, it's not a guarantee. We have to just trade the levels blindly, regardless of what I think could and couldn't happen in the market. The fact that we're falling, period, point blank, we're falling. So we have to play the direction that the market is giving. So now going back to what I was talking about earlier in the video, we're in a zone now between 385 to 390. If we hold above 390, then 395 is going to be the next level of resistance. But what we've been seeing for the past few weeks now is every single time we enter or we get to a level of resistance, the highest quality, highest probability trade is going to be sell those rallies and short those levels of resistance. That is what's been happening. All right. So yes, we're getting very overextended to the downside. That doesn't mean anything because there's a lot more room to the downside. And one of those things is the RSI. One of the things that's showing me that is the RSI. So the RSI is flat here. You can see that it's flat. Even though we made a move to the downside, the RSI is still not oversold, which is basically telling me that we can easily break back below 385 and 380 should be on the table. CPI data was garbage. We ended up testing 385. This is not a bullish scenario. We're hoping, we're pulling at straws here, hoping for a bounce. But, this is not a good sign. Overall, the momentum is bearish. Obviously, you need to continue to be bearish. Don't try to catch any falling knives unless we are opening and closing outside of the lower Bollinger Band, like what we did with Apple today. But yeah, man. So that is basically that for the SPY. I felt like I was gonna make another point. Maybe I'll remember as the video goes on. But that's that for the SPY. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the IWM. The IWM had a bit of a bounce. It's bouncing out of oversold territory from the RSI, whereas the SPY did not even touch oversold on the RSI. The IWM is bouncing out of it. So that could be good. But I doubt we'd have a rally based off of strength from the IWM. But we'll have to see how that works. But again, the IWM is in a zone as well between 170 to 175. Just take it one level at a time. But below 170, we're bearish. All right, don't overthink it. Don't try to be fancy schmancy. Just do what you got to do. And yeah, I mean, really, that's it for the IWM. It's being garbage. Let's go ahead and take a look at the NASDAQ. All right, so here's a chart of the NASDAQ. You can see how we basically came to this 168, 1.618% fib, held at that level basically pretty well at around 284. So we held the support, but one of the main issues that I see right now on the NASDAQ is, again, this RSI. Had a huge downward move, but the RSI still could not become oversold. Congratulations, the IWM did, and now it's bouncing out of oversold. But the SPY and the NASDAQ are still not even oversold on the RSI. Which, what else is needed? What else is needed for us to become oversold on the RSI? A lot, it seems. So that is pretty bearish. So again, it's not the best sign that this happened. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, so tomorrow, all eyes are going to be on tomorrow in terms of where we open for the for Apple, Microsoft, and for the NASDAQ in general as well. We need to see how overextended we open outside of the lower Bollinger Bands, whether we open inside the Bollinger Band. If we open outside, then that would be pretty bullish. for a continued move to the upside. But yeah, man, this is setting up to be a really big bull trap. And if this is a really big bull, so you guys know that I'm, like I said, like I like to catch bottoms. This would be the best bottom to catch. But we need to see. So again, like this isn't a guarantee, but this could be one of the biggest bull traps ever. So yeah, just be careful. This bull trap would basically lead to like a really big capitulation to the downside as well. But the likelihood of that happening is very small because it's a very strong chance that we have a bounce tomorrow. It's probably over a 90% chance that we have a bounce tomorrow, given everything that's going on. But, you know, the last time I had an 85 to 90% chance of something happening, didn't work out. But tomorrow, for a continuation to the upside, very likely. But it's always good to have an open mind in terms of where the market could go for the move continued. All right. So there's that for the entire stock market. I hope you guys enjoyed so far, right? If you did, make sure to smash that like button. Drop a comment. Do all that good stuff. But yeah, now let's go ahead and take a look at the crypto market. Smash that like button, guys. All right, so here's Bitcoin. We can clearly see that we are very oversold in the RSI. And when we get very overextended to the downside in terms of the Bollinger Band, we have bounced back. And this is a very important level of support. This trend line was basically a trend line that signaled a move to the upside, and then once we broke down below it, it was a continuation to the downside, and it acted as resistance this entire time, and then it acted as support for a little bit, and now we're back. So this is a really important position for Bitcoin tomorrow. If it can't hold 24, then it can be pretty bad, but the odds of that happening is slim. So yeah, overall things look like tomorrow should be a bounce, but again, I'm not extremely optimistic because this could be the one time, because of the macroeconomics, that this doesn't work. But overall, yes, tomorrow should be a bullish day. If it's not a bullish day, then it's going to be one of the biggest bull traps ever. A lot of people that are holding long right now, thinking that there should be a bounce, are going to get their faces ripped off, and it's going to be pretty bad. That's why, but again, like I'm saying, in the overall stock market, for Bitcoin, for everything, when we are this overextended to the downside, it's the best case scenario to be bullish. But things can get pretty hairy. All right, so just keep that in mind. I hope you guys had an amazing day. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff to get access to everything. The link is in the channel description. It's going to be in the comments. I hope I help with these videos, and of course I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.